Good Monday morning, my 8th grade math class. Hope you're all doing well. Today we are on 10.4, and what we're going to be talking about here is graphing data, okay? Graphing data. Now, if you want to follow along, this stuff is on page 411, 412, and in that range, okay? Graphing data. Now, one of the things we're going to be looking at here is what we call a bar graph, okay? Now, instead of just talking about a bar graph and trying to describe it, I'm going to show you a picture of it here. Insert it from my computer. So we got a bar graph. So here's the amazing thing about what a bar graph is like. As you can see, it says, what kind of pet do you own? Over here on the left side, we have the number of people. And so you see one person, two people, three, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on the bottom side, we have the type of category, okay? Now this is what kind of pet do you own? Now look at this. So if we were trying to figure out how many people own a rabbit, well, that's actually pretty easy because we just look over here and how many? 4. So that's 4 people. How many people own a dog? 8. Does everybody see right there? There's 8. How many own a cat? Whoa, way up here at 11. Nah, I prefer a dog to a cat, but anyways. Goldfish is over here at 6, right? You see that? And a hamster is down here at 5. Wow, hamster beat out rabbit. That's kind of sad. But you see how a bar graph works? Pretty easy. The only difference between this and our histogram is that you see the space right here that I'm highlighting in red? That's really the only difference in the graphs. Okay, it's basically the same thing. Very easy to make. I'm going to leave this picture up there. And what I'm going to do is erase this and just put the picture so you can see it, because that may be a little confusing with all that drawing on it. But it's actually not too bad, okay? So when you look at this, that's what it looks like. You have on the bottom, you have the type. On the left-hand side, you have the numbers over here, okay? Numbers and type down here at the bottom. Cool. Okay, well, that makes sense. Not too hard to interpret. You guys got it. Next one that we're going to talk about here is a little bit of a different chart. We call this a line graph. Now, you may say, why would we make this more complicated? Well, it's just an easier way to look at, especially time. Okay, you see this? Now, it's the same thing right over here. Number of people. It's a number. Down here is our time throughout the day. Do you see that? It starts early in the morning and ends in the evening. It's just, this is more helpful when we're doing stuff with time. Okay, it's easier to track. Or months. Okay, which month is a type of time, but this is this is an hour here, so months, years, something like that. So we see at 10 a.m. it was at 2, at 11 it was at 5. You guys can read, right? This is not very hard, right? 2, then 5, then 10. And so if I asked you how much did it go up or down, you just subtract, right? Very straightforward. The difference here is that these are connected. You see this red line is connecting. Each point to each one is connected with a line. So that's why it's called a line graph. Okay, not very hard to understand. You guys got it. You guys can read that, right? You just look at where it's at over here on this axis and where it's at over here. So at 10 a.m., we're at 2. At 11 a.m., we're at 5, right? Just like normal graphing. Not too bad. You guys got it. Now, this is the harder one to deal with, and that is this right here when we have what we call a pie graph. Oof. I got to draw it better or else it won't make it a circle. So, pie graph is when you have something that looks like this, has different sections coming off of it, right? And we'd have something that was like, this is, let's say this is 33%, this is 15%, this is 49%, and this is 31%, or something like that. Obviously, those don't add up right to 100 or anything, but that's just the idea. That it's going to add up, and whatever's in here is worth that much percent, whatever's in here is worth that much, you see, per one, okay? So here's how we make one of those when we are given some data, okay? So we're going to do one of these as an example, because I think that's the best way for us to learn, is how to do it. So we're going to do skill check number, oops, sorry, we're not going to do skill check number 2. We are going to do, if you're following along, we are going to do number 29, okay? So this is on page 416. We're going to do number 29, which you won't have for homework. So we're going to use this one as an example, okay? It says to make a pie chart looking at what you did on exercise 25. Well, exercise 25, so there were 40 in 6th grade. If you look back on there, there were 35 in 7th, and there were 25 in 8th, okay? So what we have to do first is we have to find out how many there are total. So all we do is we want to find the total number in the pie chart. So what is 40 plus 35 plus 25? Well, you do that in your handy-dandy calculator, and you get 100 students. Now, that's a very nice number for us to use, right? 100 is very easy because the percent is going to be straight out of that. So the first thing we need to do is we need to say, okay, based on that, how much does this 40 students represent of the 100? So we take 40 divided by 100, which is what in percent? 40%, right? It's 0.4, and then it converts to 40%. Not very hard. So what we do with that is we then take 0.4 times 360 degrees, because we have to know how to graph this. We're not going to know how to graph this unless we get how many degrees. And remember how many degrees are in a circle, right? 360 degrees equals a circle, which is our circle graph. Okay, now I'm going to erase some of this. So we're still out of 100 students, and we got 35 now in 8th grade. So we got 35 divided by 100, which is 0.35. That times 360 degrees equals, well, let's do this one first. This one equals 144 if you type that in your calculator. 0.4 times 360 equals 144. You have up here now 0.35 times 360 equals 126 degrees. And then lastly, we had 25 students out of 100, which is 0.25. That's easy to find. Times 360 equals a grand total of 90 degrees. Okay, so there are my three. That's how I found them. I have 144, 90, and 126. Now, if you add those up, you get 360, which is what we want, because that's what we need them to add up to. So now, using those numbers, I create a pie chart. So I draw my big circle. Here we go. Oh, hello. So I draw my big circle. Now, the first one was 144 degrees. Okay, that was the angle, and that represented the 40%. So what I do is I take my line. Now, if you have a protractor, it's a little easier than using this ruler, right? Now, I want you to imagine that this is a straight, right? There's a straight line. Now, how many would that be? That would be 180. But I only need 144, so I need to subtract 180 minus 144. You don't have to do this. Your protractor, you can just go from 0 and go all the way to 144, but I can't because of how mine is. 7, and I get 36. So I got to go up to 36 degrees right there, and I draw my line, and so now I know that this right here is 40%, which in this case was the 6th grade. Okay, that's the 6th graders. Now, I do the same thing for my other one. So I'm going to get my ruler to put away here. And the other one was 126 degrees. And that one was from the 35%. Okay, which was the 7th graders. 126 degrees from the 7th grade. So now what I need to do is I'm going to do this one the easy way. I'm going to go from the bottom, okay, from the same line, and I'm going to go down. I have to do the same thing, 180 minus 126. Which is 54. Okay, so I need to go 54 from this way. So that is right. Oop, almost got it. 54, there we go. Boom, there we go. So that's this guy down here now is 35%. And that is the 7th grade. Now, the cool part is I'm done, right? I don't even have to measure what this guy is over here. I'm going to erase this line because he's kind of not necessary. And what was that last category? It was 25%, which is the 8th grade. Now, 25% was 90 degrees. Now, you can probably just tell with your eyes, this is a right angle. So that means that it is, in fact, 90 degrees. So it means we did it right. Okay, that's pretty much our lesson. So the key part is you have to find, the first thing you have to do, step number 1 is find total. Okay, then number 2 is find percent of the total. And then step 3 is to multiply percent times total of 360 degrees to get your degrees. Okay, then step 4 is just to graph on the chart, right? Not too bad. Okay, so here's the homework that we're going to do from that. If you need to write that down, go ahead and pause the video. But here's the homework. We are on page 415. This is where the homework starts. 415. This is 10.4. We are going to be doing 6 through 18 all. Okay, that's step 1, 6 through 18 all. Then some ones that have the pie chart. We're going to do 23, 24, then 27, and 28. Now, these last ones here are just like the ones I just did. Okay, so that is perfect right there. So you guys can do that. I know you got it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have fun. Mr. H is over and out.